What up, YouTube? We back. Today was the series anime premiere for the God of High School anime. If y'all don't know, it's a webtoon series that you can find on the webtoon site. It's a manhwa, a Korean manga. Basically. So go check it out. But yeah, it was a great first episode for the anime. It started with a bang because it seems like we saw some government people talking on an island, and because they weren't agreeing with another guy, it seems like there was a storm that came to that island, and that was the result. It seems like the three people that were there are dead. It seems like it's not a storm, that destroyed the island. Maybe it was a god, because the anime is called God of High School, and it seems like this guy right there is the most powerful guy that we've seen so far, not in terms of physical power, but in terms of his power in general, in the government or something like that. So I thought that was a pretty interesting start for the anime, and seeing him in front of all these drawings of it seems like gods is pretty interesting. We don't know a lot about the lore of the story so far, but just seeing that shot right there is quite interesting. A little bit later in the episode, we were introduced to the main character. His name is Mori, and in that scene right there, he's with his grandpa, and it was an interesting scene. I really liked what they did with that. It seems like the water around them was slowing down, but it was an interesting scene because it seems like his grandpa was leaving him for a reason. In that scene, he's just a kid, and it seems like it was his first day at school. I don't know if his grandpa was leaving him to school, or if he was leaving his life. So I thought that scene in particular was pretty interesting, and I think it's gonna be really important for the future of this series. Because there's something that we're gonna talk about a little bit later in the review that is pretty important. So hopefully we'll know more about their relationship, because this is the only time that we saw his grandpa in the episode, except for a picture, I guess. After that scene, we got to the present, and we basically saw Mori as a teenager, and he was going to that God of High School tournament. But while he was going there, he saw an old lady, basically getting robbed by a guy on a motorcycle, and he ran a story in his head. We don't know if it's a true story, but he ran a story in his head on how the lady that got robbed could use that money in her purse, and that was kind of funny. But he chased the guy on a motorcycle on his bike, so that was really interesting because he's on a bike and the other guy on a motorcycle, so he isn't supposed to be as fast as that guy, but he was. That's how fast and strong he is. While Mori was chasing the guy on the motorcycle, he had a little bit of an accident, with that girl. Her name is Mira. We learn her name a little bit later in the episode, but they had an accident. He broke her glasses, which I don't mind because I like her design more without her glasses. But yeah, man, when he told her his story about that little old lady, she went with him to chase that guy on the motorcycle, and it was kind of cool. The chase scene with the motorcycle, I think they did that on purpose. Not on purpose, but the way that they did it, they showed us a little bit how what they're capable of in terms of animation, so I thought that was pretty cool. We saw a little bit of what Mira and Mori could do. They showed us a little bit of what they could do. It wasn't too much, but it was pretty cool. And while they were chasing the motorcycle, they went past a guy that we're gonna talk about a little bit later in the episode, but they went past this guy right there, and he's pretty interesting. But while they went past him, I just thought that we were going to see him later, a lot later in the episode. But at some point, he was able to catch up to them and stop the motorcycle guy, so that was really cool. It seems like he walked or he ran to catch up to them, so that was amazing. Another something that I didn't talk about in the beginning of the review is the art style, and the animation. Obviously, the animation is great. It's made by, I think, Studio Mappa, which is doing Attack on Titan later this year, the final season, and I think Jujutsu no Kaisen too. So that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, the art style is pretty interesting because some characters have reddish noses and ears, which is interesting. I don't know why. Maybe they'll explain it to us, but it's pretty weird. But in general, I really like the art style. It's pretty great. I really like it a lot. The animation style right now is great. We're gonna talk about the animation a lot too later in the review. But yeah, man, it was pretty cool. And all three of the characters, they were going to the same place. The God of High School tournament. So the guy that helped Mori and Mira stop the motorcycle guy, his name is Han, They're all pretty interesting, It seems like they're gonna be the main characters of the show. Obviously, Mori was one of the first characters that we were introduced to, and in the trailers that we watch, it seems like he's gonna be the main character. And then these other two, we saw them in the trailers too, and it seems they're also gonna be, the main characters, and it seems like they're gonna be friends, So that's pretty cool how they establish, the three main characters. But then, we finally got to the tournament, of God of High School, and it was pretty interesting, because they basically told us that this was the preliminaries to the big tournament in 1 month, which is interesting. Obviously, in a lot of other animes, there's preliminaries before the real tournament. They said that they could use any form of martial arts, any weapons that they want, which is pretty cool. And they also had a kind of watch that could show them how many HP they have, what level of opponent they have, anything like that, So that was also pretty interesting. But yeah, man, we got to see a little bit of the fighting, and we saw a lot of characters with different fighting styles, which I really appreciate. There was, I think, kickboxing, there was jujitsu. I don't know all form of martial arts, but there was a lot in just that scene, where we could see everyone fight. It seems like the one that wins the God of High School tournament, the real one in 1 month, is gonna be able to ask, basically the board, anything that they want, So that's basically like, Tower of God. When you get up in the tower, you can ask for anything, So that's pretty interesting. I heard that they kind of rivals in the webtoon series, So that's pretty interesting too. But yeah, man, we got to see some of the fighting. We saw Han fight. It seems like he's pretty straightforward. He's a power type. We saw Mira fight too. It seems like she fights mostly with a katana, but she can also do hand-to-hand combat. And we also saw Mori. His style is pretty different than those two. It seems like it's more like kung fu or something like that. I'm not really sure. While everybody was fighting, it seems like for a reason they put that guy on the ring, to basically, beat a lot more people. His name is Kang Mesuok or something like that, and one of his handicap was that he had less than 20% of life than any other participant, and his role was basically to kick ass, to basically eliminate a lot more people, from the preliminaries. We saw Mira fight him. It doesn't seem like she was strong enough for him. She did some pretty good things. She got to hit him like twice. But he's also a pervert, so that was a kind of funny scene with her. Then we got to see Mori fight him, and that was really, really interesting, because we saw how Mori was able to dodge one of his hits, but because there was sweat on the floor, he slipped, and because of that, that guy was able to hit Mori. But while Kang was hitting Mori, in that split second, Mori was able to hit him on the foot, so that was pretty cool too. And the hit that Mori received was nothing. He basically got up and started to fight again. But that was a pretty cool scene, man. It was really really cool. The animation while they're fighting is top notch. Everything about that scene at the end of the episode in the preliminaries was amazing. So it seems like this fight between these two are going to continue in next week's episode. I think that Mori will win, because he seems like a pretty strong dude, But yeah, man, that first episode for God of High School was amazing. We don't know a lot of the lore of the anime, but from what we've seen so far, it was great. It seems like there's a lot of corruption in the government industry, or the eh, anyway, man. There seems to be corruption. There's a lot of different martial arts fighting style. There's a lot of different weapons that they can use. We saw some other characters that had a lot more to their design that it seems like we're going to get introduced to in the next few episodes. So I can't wait. But yeah, man, if I missed some of the things that y'all wanted to talk about in this week's review, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, man, it was great. We've been waiting for that anime for a while now. It's another webtoon series like Tower of God. It seems like, from what I've heard, Tower of God and God of High School are kind of rivals, kind of like more like God of High School is Dragon Ball and Tower of God is like One Piece or something like that. So that's pretty interesting. It's a manhwa. It's Korean, I think. So yeah, man, it was great. But let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is gonna happen next. I'm gonna do God of High School reviews every Monday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like One Piece reviews on Saturdays. I usually do Boruto, Naruto, Next Generation reviews on Sundays, and then Black Clover reviews, on Tuesdays. It's coming back tomorrow, so stay tuned for all of that. Follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram, and like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot, man. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Anime Specialist out. Peace.